Joel is going. Joel is bringing Lad, personal friends with Anthony Smith, big supporters. Joel, what's going on?
All right, so here's where I'm at on this Anthony Smith fight, and I talked a little bit about it on Wednesday. So me and Lad are staying at Randy's house. Randy's gone. All right, he's gone. I got the run of the place, just me and Lad. Lad's got his room. He's got all set up, and I'm wondering, should I pawn all 8 of Randy's UFC belts? Put that on Anthony Smith,
and then buy him back before Randy knows.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I'm just trying to get ahead of the story here.
Exactly, and if by any chance he loses, then I'll just put 8 new ones that they sell them, the replica belts. Do you think he would notice that?
Because you're going to put them on the shelf, and he's only going to look at them and never take them down again. That's the bet you're willing to make.
Or I sell one of his cars.
Or he beats your ass. I mean, consider all your options.
Well,
there's a lot of moving parts. If you're asking me for advice, there's some things you should.
This probably would be the time. I just don't go with Joel's instinct and pawn Randy's belts.
Brother, if this was anyone other than you, I'd know this was a bit, and we're trying to entertain the fans, and we're making a joke here. Anytime you come up with an idea, there's at least 20% of my brain that needs it. Well, he might be serious. And then he's going to drag me into it. Well, Randy, Chael said it was a great idea. He thought we just grabbed those replica belts.
Or we don't even tell him. What belts?
Sure, what belts?
What belts? I've never. What do you think you could get for 8 UFC belts at a pawn shop?
Okay, I'll tell you this. All kidding aside, actually, I think it was Rico Rodriguez put his belt on eBay at one point, and he got $5,000. Now, before you talk, do you know this story?
I do not.
Okay. And Rico went through that celebrity rehab, and so Rico's a good friend, but I don't think I'm speaking out of school at all. I mean, he's the one that put this out there. But to remind you of that story, and I think I do have my numbers right, he put his belt on eBay, and it got bought for $5,000. Now, the rumor that was never confirmed is that Dana went on and bought that belt, knew what the situation was, and thought to himself, as soon as he gets his life back in order, I'm going to give him his belt back. That was the rumor, and nobody's ever dispelled that, and I personally believe it.
I hope that's true. So, all right, so...
But my point to you is this. You asked about 8 belts. I gave you a $5,000 number. Don't think you're going to get $40,000. I think Dana came in and goes, I'm going to cover this guy's rent for the month and give him his belt. I don't know what one of those belts is worth.
You got to figure I can get $35,000 for 8 belts.
Can I tell you something about Anthony Smith?
Sure.
That you need to know if you're going out there as a friend and a supporter. He's going to get his ass kicked. Now, here's what you need to understand. And by say you, I'm talking to to the listeners here. Every fight he's at, he's got his ass kicked. The difference is that doesn't throw him off his game. And he'll kick your ass right back. And he'll stay in the fight the whole time. And Anthony Smith is not going to go to sleep in this fight. I mean, Jon Jones, as great as he is, and I most certainly would not lead you to believe anything else, he's not a knockout guy. He just doesn't knock a lot of guys out cold. He positions them, and he's got some other stuff he can do. So what I'm trying to say is that's the real danger that Jon has that I think some other guys possibly didn't bring to the table, is when Jon begins that storm, and it is an overwhelming storm at times, Smith doesn't go away. And for somebody to taunt him and say, Anthony, you're going to get your ass kicked, his response would come, yeah, I'm in a cage fight. I was kind of expecting that. And that's a different mindset, but it's an intimidating mindset that all of Smith's opponents have had to deal with, 3 of which have been world champions and 3 of which couldn't deal with.
Well, I tell you this about Anthony, and I'm biased. He's a friend. He's good to Lad. That's my guy. But when I look at this fight, and I look at a 6 to 7 to 1 underdog. Some places it's 8 to 1 underdogs. I see a Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson. And if you go back and watch the history of Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas knew he could beat Mike Tyson. He was a 42 to 1 underdog. He knew he could beat him. He trained his ass off. He told everybody he was going to do it, and then he went out and did it. This isn't a Rousey Holm thing because there wasn't enough information out there. A lot of people had Holly Holm winning that fight. It's not a Sarah GSP thing. Fact is, Sarah caught him.
I like where you're going. Please finish this thought.
It is that. when he flips the script, if I'm right on this, and I've been right a bunch, I know you say, hey, he's going to lose this, that, and that. Man, if I'm right on this, history will parallel Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson, because Anthony Smith has been saying, I can beat this guy for the last year. Coming off a loss, I'm going to go up to 205. I'm the guy to beat Jon Jones.
I have to take umbrage with one thing, because you just said, I know you're saying he's going to lose this fight. No, don't mishear me. I am not saying he's going to lose this fight. I'm saying he's going to take some punches, but that's what he does. I've watched him lose rounds and come back and win fights, yelling at the opponent. I turned the TV one time because the fight was over, him versus Hector, and his manager reached out to me. I flipped over to watch a boxing match. I think that was like Triple G Canelo Part 1. His manager reaches out to me. I'm actually driving down to this podcast. He's like, hey, you want to have Anthony on? He's got his third knockout in a row. I'm like, what are you talking about? He just lost on Saturday. He's like, oh, you turned the channel, didn't you? I'm like, yeah. He goes, no, he came back and won. So the point I'm trying to make for you is no. I'm backing that he's very dangerous, but it's a different thing. Anytime we give an analysis of Jon Jones, we always start talking about, well, this guy's not going to want to stand with them, but boy, he's got a good wrestling defense, or boy, this guy's got good jiu-jitsu. We start talking about the technical aspects. And this fight does feel different. I like your comparison to Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson, because that also wasn't a technical game. That had to do with heart and grit and who could stay in there longer. And that is the one thing that Smith is. Anytime Jon Jones fights somebody, because we're more than aware of the rare talent we've got here, but every time he fights somebody, we have to see something in that new guy that is different than the guys in the past. Sometimes we fail. This time we've succeeded. We have accurately identified what is different about this opponent than what Jon has seen in the past, and it is a grit.
I didn't mean you. I meant the viewers.
Sure.
I know. We're rooting for the same dog. Now, when I look at this fight and try to be fair,
sure,
but a little bit slanted, I'm like, Jon Jones cannot beat him standing up.
A little bit slanted as you prepare to steal 8 of Randy's belts to put them at the window. But
possibly.
But go ahead.
Possibly. Okay, so Jon's not going to beat him on his feet. They're going to kick the shit out of each other on his feet. Jon has to take Anthony down to win this fight, and those shots that I saw against Gustafsson will not do the trick.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I mean, I'm also trying to be fair and objective. I do not think that Jon can put Anthony down on his feet. But Jon doesn't put a lot of people down. He's an accumulation guy, and he tricks you, and he spins this way and elbows you. He kicks you in the gut and it might hurt something later. I mean, Jon is really special. But I hear what you're saying about the power. I like the grit. I like the match. I don't dispute why Anthony is such a tremendous underdog. I don't have any problem with it. I think that is very fair and very straightforward. I think that Jon deserves the accolades he's getting. I need to say this about Jon. There is one very refreshing thing going on here. One of Jon's harder parts from a PR standpoint of getting back from all the things that he went against is the psychology of what it is the public wants. And the public never wants a guy with words. They want a guy with actions. And that's always been a tough thing for Jon. He gives you the words and the actions show something else. At least in the short term, at least in the last 60 days. Jon definitely does deserve some level of recognition to the fact that his words and his actions are now coming head to head. For example, he came out before Gustafsson. He said, I'm going to fight anybody they want. Any opportunity they want. I mean, Anthony Smith, a guy like, there was times in Jon's career he wouldn't, remember how Jon, you couldn't get him in the ring and he was so difficult and you didn't deserve this. Remember when he would talk like that? But he recently said, UFC can figure it out. I'm going to fight anybody. I'm going to fight as many guys as I can. 3, 4, 5 guys. You pick the opponents. Move me weight classes if you want. I'm going to stay active and busy. I missed a lot of time. I'm going to get it back. I missed entertaining the fans. I took that from them. I'm going to give it back to him. He said these words, but now with this match on the horizon and everything going the way that it's going, not for nothing, but Jon does deserve the recognition that his actions are starting to meet his words. And I think that you need to appreciate that, Joel. As an Anthony fan, I think you need to give that to Jon because he could have taken this opportunity from Smith, and that would have been wrong.
I disagree.
Okay.
And I will give him nothing.
Okay. So you don't actually disagree with my analysis.
Yeah, he gets nothing, man.
But no, I'm good with
nothing.
it.
He gets zero.
I'm good with it because I see where you went. I'm good with it.